Are live. Hey,
Ooh.
what's up? My furthest reaching guest, all the way from down under. If you can't tell from his accent, he hasn't said anything yet,
You'd
but
definitely be able to tell from my accent.
yeah. Mali, like the country Bali. Yes, is that right?
That's right. It's Marley. Like I found that Americans tend to like to say my name like Marley.
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 I,
But
I
no,
said, I
Marley
said,
like Barley. That works well.
yeah, I say Mali for a long time, and
Yeah, I just let those things slide, to be honest, most of the time. Everyone says Mally if they see my name spelt. Like Mali. It's just Mally. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's talk about you, who you are, what you do, all that good stuff, how we met. So,
Cool.
you are father of a 2-year-old, a new unexpected, yes, coming soon to a theater
Yeah.
near you.
March. Not far away at all.
Founder of Fuel Move Think. Yes, you got the shirt
Heck
on, got
yeah.
the sign
I
in the
do.
back.
Got the banner, even got the shorts on. We're
There you
rocking and
go.
roll.
Full. I just have this, not my actual brand shirt.
I love it.
So
It's good. It's a cool shit.
if anyone gets this reference too, bonus points for that. So those listening, since this is also going to go on the podcast, you'll have to go and check out the video. But anyway, Bo Jackson is the reference. Bono's. It was a commercial thing. Don't know if you got that down under in Australia. Yep.
Straight over there. Yeah.
Do you know who Bo Jackson is?
Look, I know the name, but I wouldn't insult you by telling you that I know anything about him.
That's fine. As an American, our main knowledge of Australia's celebrities is like Crocodile Dundee. So
that's fair. That's our main knowledge of celebrities as well.
And what's that? The Land Down Under song by, is it Men at Work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great song.
So that's it. That's all I got. And that's, Vegemite. That's about it. Anyway,
Tim
what
Tams?
else we got? I've heard of that. I don't know what it is. It's a sweet thing.
I need to send you a care package, I think. Tim Tams, yeah, they're like a chocolate biscuit.
Okay,
food.
I think I've seen it.
You can do something called a Tim Tam slam, where you bite the diagonal edges of the biscuit, and then you drink your drink through it, and then eat the biscuit. And it's an Australian delicacy.
Okay, so a little like Oreo. You're familiar with the Oreo?
Yeah, we've got Oreos.
You got okay.
Yeah, we've got all your stuff. You just don't have ours.
We don't have yours. There was a popular YouTube series where they would do that, like, snacks from around the world, and like you would try stuff from wherever. Anyway, back to you, sir. We could probably go into random things I don't know about Australia for 200, Alex. Very sad he just passed away. Anyway, less tangents, more focus. So, Fuel Move Think.
Right.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Sure. You are also an occupational therapist.
Correct.
Yes, OT.
Yeah.
We'll come on that. We'll talk about that a little bit, and then what was the other bit? You're also a performing artist, right? So you've been in some productions. You're amateur.
Amateur, yes, amateur. Definitely not professional. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, on that journey.
Yeah, you're in Kinky Boots.
Yes.
Was it a local production of Kinky Boots?
It was. Yeah, that's local production here in Albury.
The man is many talents. He is multi-talented. So let's circle back to how you and I met, and we'll let you run with that. How did we meet?
Cool. Well, actually, I wanted to start back bit further than that, because there's almost like a journey that took us to how we met. It's not as quite as simple as even maybe you think. Because I was thinking about this the other day, and realized so it all started back in 2006, I think. So I was I was a clinically obese teenager. I was 130 kilos at 181 centimeters. So I don't know what that translates to in pounds, etc. But yeah, I'm technically clinically obese, and so I started getting into fitness, things like that. Got into the gym, started losing weight, Eventually, lost a fair bit of weight, had a pretty good relationship with food, exercise, all those sorts of things. And then got into obstacle racing, still really enjoying everything. Got into CrossFit, started going really hard at it with CrossFit, loving it. In local competition stuff, I would do fairly well. Then probably, started going a bit too far. I was in a bit of a codependent, not so awesome relationship. And so I guess I was getting a bit obsessive over nutrition and my training. So I guess the two things that I could really control, I went really hard on really over controlling those things and going far too hard on them despite a whole lot of red flags. So developed a really unhealthy relationship with food, which sort of looking back on it now, definitely had an eating disorder. And I've actually spoken to a dietitian who said that if I had have spoken to them back then, they would have considered it bulimia. Although I didn't purge through vomiting, I purged through fasting and excessive exercise. So that was pretty eye-opening, I guess, to hear that said out loud, considering, I thought I was being, at the time I was super healthy and I was eating really well and I was, looking after myself and all that. At the same time, I was training really hard, not really paying a lot of attention to my body. So I was going through a really big squat program. This would have been probably 2017 or maybe 16, late 2016. I started getting some niggly knee pain. I think it started in my right knee specifically, and then sort of developed in my left as well. I got to a point where before any training session, I would pop a couple of ibuprofen, lather my knees up in Tiger Balm, which I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's like
we have that
heat type.
Yeah.
You've got that? Cool.
We got that.
In Tiger Balm, and chuck the knee wraps on and hope that they wouldn't explode. And that was a daily occurrence. I was going through ibuprofen like it was candy. And I got to the point where I was in a good probably 6 out of 10 pain all the time in both my knees. So that was without any sort of exercise, just constant. If I tried to do something as simple as an air squat, knees would just feel like they're going to explode. It would rocket up to a good 8 to 9 out of 10.
So sorry, what was driving you through like I got to do this squat program? What was that? Just that kind of connection to chasing physical fitness?
So it was, I guess I had so the relationship I was in at the time wasn't a particularly healthy one.
Right.
It was just, and not really by anyone's fault. I did a lot of growing sort of towards the end and afterwards, and I just think there wasn't really a match there. It was very, to use the words of and I'll try to say his name right, Michael Kazu and Adi. They talk a lot about codependent and co-committed relationships, which I really like, and it's something that I'm very happy to say and very confident to say that I'm in a co-committed relationship now, whereas I would say it was a very codependent one back then, very reliant, and I found that I just didn't feel in control, wasn't happy, and so the one thing that I could control, made me feel good. I was making progress. I was silly. I was doing really well in local comps, so I wanted to keep getting fitter. I was still, miles away from even a regionals appearance.
Right.
So yeah, just really, I guess that was the one part of my life that I could really fully control myself. And so I mean, even after that, relationship ended, my food or relationship with food definitely improved. Probably still took a little while to get it to where it is now. So 4 years later, I would say that, I'm quite an intuitive eater, developed really good habits, really good relationship around food. But with exercise and my knee pain, it even still took me a little while to reach out for help with that one. So I was at a gym and I was just asking the coaches, I was like, what warm-ups and cool downs can I do to fix my knees? What should I be doing in workouts and things like that? And at best, it was managing the pain. Definitely wasn't improving it. I would, there's pictures of me from that time, my knees, in like neat casual clothes, with my knees taped up to the brim in rock tape. So looking back on it, I'm like, wow, like that should have been the biggest red flag. And yeah, I was at one point, I can't remember what the tipping point was, but I think we moved. So we were living in Dubbo at the time. We moved back to Albury, so that's 6 hours away. And back home where family is, and we had a change. Got my own gym stuff, so I wasn't going to a gym anymore. I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted, and just went, that's enough. Need to get this better. Oh no, the tipping point, of course, was my wife became pregnant with my first son. And I decided that I couldn't be the dad that I wanted to be, with knees that stopped me from being able to walk or squat at age 28. And that all led me to you. Thus our relationship began.
Yes. So then I magically fixed you, and here we are today. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. That was it.
tell the folks a little bit about the process that I took you through. I guess I don't want to, I'm going to let you raise up my sail here, or instead.
Cool. I'll try really hard not to bastardize what you do.
I'll jump in if it's necessary, but yeah, no. And again, I want people to understand this process, because again, this was a few years ago that we connected, and we did virtual training before it was the cool thing or the necessary thing that we see now in these COVID times. So, but I still get a lot of folks concerned that virtual training is not they're not confident that virtual training is going to get them where they need to go, get the outcomes that they're looking for. So I think a lot of times it's changing what we're, why we're chasing what we're chasing, to your point about earlier, squatting and waiting for your knees to blow up. And also understanding that, again, if you have that motivation of, like, I want to be able to squat down to play with my son. How do we get you there? And is it a difficult process? Was it a difficult transition? All that good stuff. So yeah, tell us a little about your experience with going through this, and I'll introduce it as basically the real simple thing. We were able to diagnose it as a tendonitis, and we said, squatting is the thing you want to be able to get back to. And again, a lot of times, like you said, you'll ask your coaches, you'll ask even other medical professionals, and stop squatting, and your glutes are weak, or we need to get this strong, that strong, and some of that stuff will work. I'm not trying to poo-poo at all, but the philosophy being, let's actually get you to squat with a tempo, very specific program, 12 weeks laid out. We're keeping track of every single session online, which the online platform allows us to do, which I've been doing the online stuff way before it's cool now. So bottom line is, it's a squat program to directly target those tendons that seem to be the problems, and just reset your squat. So yeah, tell us what's going on. What happened? And what happened?
Yeah, well, what happened next?
Yeah. I'm trying to set it up like a, show thing. I don't know. Working on it.
I love it. Act 2. Cool. So it's probably worth mentioning then, considering you're mentioning about other medical professionals and coaches and things, is that I did actually reach out to a general practitioner which, I mean, knowing what I know now about everything, GPs are great. I don't know what they're like in America, but in Australia, they're great, and they specialize in being generalists. So, I mean, his recommendation was to rest.
Yeah.
Which I did do.
They're concerned that there's nothing more serious. They want to keep you alive. They want to, if they need to refer you to someone else, they'll refer you to someone else. But yeah, for the most part, the medical system is great for keeping us alive. Past that, it's a lot of nuance. It's a lot of time that's required. Again, like we said, just that one program was 12 weeks and checking in 5 or 6 times a week. So it's not something that most GPs are able to really, it's not in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like I said, he was just, have a rest for X amount of time. Don't do the things that hurt, all the norm. I actually did do that for probably a good month, I think. And yeah, the knee pain did definitely lessen. But then returning to the things that I want to do, the knee pain returned exactly the same. Reached out to a physiotherapist. Which, do you call them physiotherapists, or is it just physical therapists? Speaking of which,
so I think we are the only country in the world. America is the only country in the world that calls them physical therapists. I'm just like the metric system. I think we are the only country in the world that is not on board with that. But I mean, it's been a bit of a trend, and I think a lot of folks like me who almost see a negative connotation to physical therapy are using the physiotherapy because they are synonymous. So that's an interesting point. In California, obviously US-based physical physio, he definitely uses that term all the time, and I think we use it again to kind of separate ourselves from a little bit of the problematic, more traditional physical therapy system here in America, anyway.
Yep. Yeah, cool. So yeah, went and saw a physio, and that was actually where the rock taping idea came from. The idea was that the rock tape would pull my patella up, take pressure off the tendon, et cetera, et cetera. I did that for a good while, and then that didn't work either. So that brings me to you. Started working with Bo, and we dialed everything all the way back. So ego got checked immediately. I think we started with box squats to what would be, I guess, 18, 20-inch box, essentially to parallel with a squat, or to where it would be pain-free, which for me was about there. And I'm pretty sure it was straight off the bat, it was with an empty bar. And that squat program was with 20 kilos of weight. We were doing, I think it was a 4 down, 3 up tempo. It was slow, it was light, and it was hard. It was hard mentally, physically it was hard. So, I was dialing into how everything felt, what everything felt like, making sure that everything was tracking right, was feeling good, so that I could provide all that feedback to yourself about how it was feeling. And that progression over 12 weeks was just, it was the gradual increase in weight, playing with rep ranges, and eventually increasing range as well, until I'm pretty sure at the end of that 12 weeks, I was not squatting huge weights, but squatting full depth, pain-free, sure. Which was,
I remember full depth,
enormous.
and we're at what, like 2 or 3 years removed.
Oh yeah,
now, and we're still working together, people. If you're wondering how the story ends, but you're hitting back squat numbers now, with a consistent slow drip, and I always try to analogize it to instant coffee versus, slow drip, really put the time in, or, ribs that are marinated for 24 hours, that kind of thing. The slower process tends to yield better results. So yeah, the more we can slow it down, which again, everyone's like, but I can squat 200 pounds or 300 pounds. It's like, nope, we're starting with 20 kilos. And that's where, we're going to go. So yeah. And so the most important thing though, is that at the end of that 12 weeks, like you said, you were doing full range, and pain-free.
Yeah. Yep. We were still cautious. Like, we could, controlled tempo squats pain-free. Still definitely had niggles with other movements. Squat cleans were my nemesis for a really long time, and they still make me a little bit anxious, heavy squat cleans, just because that was the thing that lasted the most and caused pain. So yeah, I think for a good 12 months, like, so 12 weeks, I guess, was the program that really got me to be pain-free with controlled movement. But we worked together for a good 12 months. And I think at the end of that, that was when I was confident to essentially do anything within reason.
Right.
And it was all pain-free. So that was amazing, considering the pain that I was in. Like, I wouldn't have thought that I could be pain-free again. Because I had been in that pain for a while, and I don't want to like catastrophize it, because there's definitely people in worse situations than bilateral knee pain. But I was definitely like, man, I'm gonna be a 30-year-old dad that it hurts to squat down to pick up his son, and that's one hell of a driving factor. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I will squat 20 kilo bars for years.
right.
To deal with that.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's a lot of folks aren't connected to that why. Start with why. Simon Sinek, great book. But just that concept of what's driving you? People making New Year's goals. We're shooting this in January 2021, so a bunch of New Year's resolutions that most likely have already been failed. Statistically speaking, I'm just going off of statistics, but it's what we say is, you fail to the levels of your systems also. So, and Molly did not have, and now when I say Molly, and he didn't know this, we talked about this before, is a party drug, at least here in America. And that also makes me think of Molly Ringwald, if you know her, or, no, she's the 80s, girl, I think, red hair. She was in all the those romance movies, John Hughes movies. No, nothing, not at all.
Sorry.
Or Molly Shannon is the what's her name? She did the Saturday Night Live skit, and stick her arms in here and made you sniff. Anyway, no, nothing at all.
Nothing. I do apologize.
I'll try to link to some of those below. But anyway,
later.
Molly, it is fun to say. Anyway, lost my train of thought, which is fine. But bottom line is, we got you out of pain. I think that the takeaway there for me, again, was where I was going is, it's connecting to that purpose. So again, a lot of people run to lose weight or to be fit or to be in shape, and not really thinking through the long-term process of, why am I doing this? Is it really the thing that's going to drive me the most to where I want to be? For you, again, being a father seems number one. Being a performing artist, I don't know if that ranks as number two. And then, he's for those listening, I don't know, tell us about the race you're doing later this year that we're training for. Is it the
GeoQuest? It's a 48-hour adventure race based over in the Port Macquarie National Park area. It's a 3-discipline race, so hike, bike, kayak, and navigation via map and compass. So I last did it 6 years ago for a TV show, which, if anyone remembers, Search for Hurt. No, I made a brief appearance on that one. But it was.
You did send me the link one time. That's the only reason I know it. But
there you go.
Yeah.
No, it's it was on ESPN.
Oh wow.
When it was I I don't know if I'd call it a big deal, but it was a big deal for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So yeah, doing that one in June.
Yeah, he did invite me to go join him, and I said, you know, if COVID calms down, I would love to go do it and take on a physical challenge like that. And again, that's what the point I'm connecting to that is, for me at least, and I think for you as well, is that pain-free freedom of movement is, we can express it in ways like GeoQuest, as well as in CrossFit competitions and doing squat cleans and all this fun stuff for us. But, you know, why do you train is so that I can do all this other fun stuff, right? So that's kind of the I guess drive home point there. So I did want to move on to occupational therapy and tell us a little bit about how long you've been practicing, what does that entail, and how does some of this training that we're doing tie into being an occupational therapist, and maybe what is the difference? And I'm happy for those. I think a lot of people don't know the difference between an occupational therapist and a physical therapist. So tell us.
Yeah, cool. So I've been an OT since 2017. So I'm not really a veteran of the profession yet. I was a bit late to the whole university endeavor. I spent my late teens, early 20s working in every and any job that I possibly could. So yeah, graduated in 2017. Started working in workers insurance, so workplace injuries, case management, for getting people back to work. I guess the difference, might as well start, the difference between occupational therapy and physical therapy, if I'm to go from like
you
a
can
framework.
Say physio.
Physio. Sorry, you said it, so it just stuck in my head. The difference between OT and physio is from a framework perspective, I guess, is that and I apologize to all the physios out there. I know that the medical model is developing and changing, but physio is more governed by the medical model, I guess. You know, people go to physios because they have a problem that needs to be fixed, and so physios treat issues. They treat injuries, treat issues, and I do know that, you know, part of that practice is now becoming more holistic, looking at a person from a more environment, relationships, extrinsic, intrinsic relationships type thing, which is fantastic. But
is that what you're seeing? Nope. Is that what you're seeing in Australia for physios when you talk about the more holistic approach, or are you just talking about like on Instagram, you happen to be seeing like people practicing that way, like more forward thinking? I'm genuinely curious if that's something you see in.
Yeah, definitely seeing it in Australia, and I think, I'm not sure what it's like around the world, I guess, but the medical model in general, so even like GPs, so doctors, surgeons, things like that, are also looking. The medical model is I guess developing, becoming a lot more holistic, looking at things from a more worldly point of view, I guess, which I think is fantastic because I mean, not to brag, but OT's been doing that since its inception. When we were back in the day when we were doing basket weaving, which is where occupational therapy started. So I with my, I guess, OT degree, we really look at taking a person where they are and helping them develop strategies, techniques, supports, and services for them to be able to access the world as they are. So instead of necessarily trying to fix something about a person, we want them to be able to live the highest quality of life despite whatever is happening with them. We work a lot. I mean, the very generic and shallow version of OT that a lot of people know is prescribing equipment and home modifications. That is bread and butter OT. That's stuff that we really probably all know how to do to some extent. But I guess the place where I play, and the more complex places when we're dealing with people with, say, mental health illnesses or psychosocial type disabilities, where equipment and home modifications definitely are the answer.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, where I'm working now, we have a scheme in Australia called the National Disability Insurance Scheme, or the NDIS.
Calling it a scheme?
A scheme. Yeah.
So
it's a good thing.
Well, right.
They're not like scheming to.
I was gonna say that's the first thing I think that Americans, when I hear the word, I think of like, oh yeah, they're running a scheme over there. Like they're, you know, it's a bad thing for sure. Usually.
Yeah. When I said it out loud, I did. Yeah.
But if again, just, you know, it's the tomato, what you guys call it, Molly Mally.
Yeah. So the NDIS, essentially, big bucket of money, and anyone with a disability within their requirements can apply for an NDIS plan, and through this plan they can access a whole conglomerate of different services, supports, equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So doing a lot of work in the NDIS space, where as an OT, you know, I'm doing a lot of functional assessments. So we're meeting people with any sort of disability, and over a course of a few different visits, we have to take a snapshot of basically their ability to function within the world, which is a daunting task, I guess, because a lot rides on that sort of assessment as far as how much funding they get, what sort of supports and services a person can get access to. So take my job very seriously, love my job. Yeah, so that's probably, I guess, the basics of that. But I guess from the reason I got into OT, and I guess then the reason that I look at it is because prior to going to uni, I had my own personal training business, and I just found that I couldn't provide within my scope of knowledge I couldn't implement the type of change that I wanted to implement in a person's life. I'd sort of reached the point where I decided that anyone can make anyone work hard in a gym. Like, you don't need a qualification. You don't need it. You just need a general knowledge of how, what movements are what, or how a person can move in space, and you can make someone work hard. You can make someone, for all intents and purposes, lose weight or get stronger depending on where they are in their journey. But I'd noticed that the problem was that people, it was behaviors, it was habits, it was routines, it was, it was mental health, it was environmental factors, it was all of this stuff where people were coming up short. And, I was like, well, where can I get the knowledge and the skills to then be able to actually help people with those things? And that's where OT, from a clinical therapy perspective, that's where we really flex our muscles, I guess, is that, we can help people, build good routines in their life to help them access, healthy activities of daily living to improve their quality of life, kind of despite where they're at. So, I'm working with people with, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, like, just all the things. All the things. And I recently was working with a lady who was in an acute psychiatric ward in a hospital, and the idea was to find her appropriate and safe housing. So having to I guess meet someone where they're at and help them figure out what they need to live a high quality life, and a valuable life and a purposeful life. And that's, I think, what OT means to me, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah. Again, I don't think that would line up with a lot of Americans' experience of OT. Yeah. I mean, generally what I've seen, and I would love to get some OTs on here in America too, is, more activities of daily living, and assigning, getting them to be able to shower and put on socks and things like that. Don and doff, which is the fancy way of saying put on or take off. But yeah, so that's awesome. That's interesting. I thank you for sharing that. And does that take us to Fuel Move Think? Is that kind of, yeah, because I know that was more recent. So tell us about your company, Fuel Move Think.
So yeah, that's a bit of a natural progression. So like I said, had a business, didn't know how to provide the services that I thought people needed or deserved. And so that's what took me to OT. That's why I went to uni. When I finished uni, started thinking about how I could, implement those skills and strategies. And, obviously through my short career so far, have learned a lot, working with, complex psychosocial disability and mental health, which is where I like to work. And yeah, how that implements in, I guess, a gym or, physical exercise setting. And what I realized when I came to break things down, this is something that I think has gotten really good, at least on social media. It seems that the masses are understanding that it's not about the time in the gym. It's about habits and behaviors and mindset and mental health and things like that. They're, I guess, what drive what happens in the gym.
I'm guessing you're hearing that beep.
Lost you
there. I'm gonna mute myself because there's some beeping going on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the beeping is. So where was I? Yeah, so I guess I wanted to dig a little bit deeper about the, I guess, like you've said, the why. And I wanted to figure out what creates a why, because, obviously having been a personal trainer for a period of time and as an OT, you see a lot of goals. People come to you and say, I want to lose X amount of weight. I want to be able to lift X amount of weight. Or even in OT, it's like, oh, I want to get back to working at this job, or I want to be able to do this activity again. And the problem is that sometimes the goals, although excellent, aren't realistic. And the reason they aren't realistic is because what happens is that a person has created a goal that's, I guess, powered by the values of a person that they want to be, and not the person that they are at the time. That's not to take away from anybody, but a really simple example would be someone that wants to lose a bunch of weight, or get abs for summer, but they don't want to give up their night out drinking on uni night on a Wednesday, or they don't want to give up their pub meal and beer on a Saturday night. And so there's just a few things that don't align. And so whether the goal is then realistic to who they want to be. And so when I guess thought about that and working with people, developed the idea that it's not even about the habits and behaviors, because you can tell people to do things all you want, but whether they do them or not still comes down to their values. It's about who they want to be and how they want to be perceived by the world and by themselves. And so I guess Fuel Move Think came about, and I guess the underlying foundational framework of the whole concept of Fuel Move Think is that we want to give people a strong foundational set of values of the person that they want to be, and I want them to make sense. So we want people to be really upfront and honest, and this includes myself. I do it all the time, about who they are. Like, who are you? What values do you have? What behaviors do you participate in as a person right now? And then I want you to think of the ideal you, who that person is, what sort of behaviors they participate in, what sort of values that person has. And then, then it just becomes reflection and habit building, because it's really easy once you've got goals that are values, because you can then go during the day one of my values is to be kind. But today I stood in a circle and gossiped about somebody behind their back.
Right.
It's like, well, that doesn't align. And, so at the end of the day, the idea is a bit of reflection. You write down the things, all the behaviors and activities that you participated in during that day that didn't align with the values of the person that you want to be. And then it makes it a really more streamlined approach, and that applies to anything.
Yeah.
I found that, that people want to lose weight, but, they've got a really bad relationship with food. And so we've got, the person that looks the way that they want to look, has a good relationship with food. And so, what are the things that we need to do to get you there? So it's about really, working on the small things, and then the big things almost happen by accident. And I guess from that perspective, I really like working with people, in the gym. Obviously, I enjoy coaching people. I enjoy coaching movement still, but I really like educating people and helping people figure out, I guess, who they are and who they want to be. And so that's, I guess, what Fuel Move Think was born of. Really, is that I want people to be able to, I guess, work those things out and then be able to work towards it by themselves. I want to take away their dependence on external services. Because so many people get caught up on, I need my personal trainer.
Right.
It's like, well, let's give you the skills that you don't, so that when you go on holiday, you don't freak out.
Right.
You need a gym. It's like, well, let's give you the skills so that, again, like when you're away from your gym, you've still got the drive and the knowledge to want to continue your journey. Because we see it all the time. People get taken out of their environment, and everything falls apart.
Right.
Because they don't have the foundation underneath. They can't go to their gym, or they can't eat food from their fridge. So all these really good habits just disappear. And so it's giving them the underlying values of why they're doing these things, and not just because I want to lose weight.
It takes a lot to say no to cake at a wedding. Not that everyone needs to, but it's understanding.
Well, that's right. And that's the point.
Yeah. And it's understanding, should I have that cake? Does it align with my values? Right now, I want to lose weight. Is that cake going to be the difference between, getting to my goal or not? But yeah, it's a really important thing for sure. And something I incorporate in a lot of my coaching as well. I would say I haven't even, we don't even touch on a lot of that, because I know you have a lot of that stuff lined up. So, I try to check in every now and then on how's your stress? How's your sleep? He has a kid coming. So there's a lot going on. It is 5:30 in the morning there now.
Oh, it's 6:15 now. We've been talking for a while.
Yes. When we started, it was 5:30. But yeah, for me, it's 11:15 in the morning, pre-noon, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm still kind of waking up too. But different lifestyle. Different lifestyle.
Horses for courses.
Yeah, whatever that means. Is that an Australian thing?
Must be. Look, I don't know. I just say things to you now. Horses for courses. So different race horses for different types of race courses.
Okay, that makes sense.
We're trying to abolish horse racing over here. Is that a thing in America? Do you race horses?
Horse racing? Oh yeah.
Okay.
A big thing.
I never see it. as an American thing.
There's a big thing where people gamble on it. You go down to the racetrack.
Yeah, we got the TAB in Australia. You go down to the tab, place a bet.
I can't. It was OTB, off track betting. And you sit there and they have all the different stuff, and you can always, do the little card. I've never really done it. Seabiscuit though. Seabiscuit's a big thing.
Yeah,
that movie with
that's
America, and they do the what is it? The Triple Crown. The Triple Crown is a big thing.
Okay. We got the Melbourne Cup. It's called the race that stops a nation. The Melbourne Cup. There you go. Yeah. Bit of Australian history.
And the big one, I think the third of the Triple Crown here is the Kentucky Derby, and that's where everyone has these gaudy hats that are women have, and so That's a thing for sure. It's a thing.
Cool. If I had a thought about it, that probably would have made sense. If I thought it's mainly from movies, to be honest, though. Courses for courses. There you go, a new one for you.
All right. I don't think I'll be implementing it, but now I know. It comes up in trivia or something. Cool, man. What's next? You got a lot going on. Baby's coming.
Yeah.
Think is growing.
That's the plan. So I'm actually, I don't think I've said this publicly yet, but I'm.
This doesn't really count as public. You get like 5 people watching this.
5 people is 5 more than the 5 I've already told, I guess. Yeah. I am actually looking to pull back on my day job as an OT. So, I've over a few years, I've obviously had the opportunity to work for a private company and work with a variety of clients in a variety of settings, which has been fantastic for me to, develop some skills, see how other people work, see a lot of.
Were you the one course for those many courses? Is that a proper use of the?
Yeah. My skill set was appropriate for the clientele, so I was the horse for the course. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
But I recently, I've been having a big think about what I want my life to look like and why I did OT in the beginning. I guess going back to the roots of the why again. Mm-hmm. And I did it because I wanted to provide a really well-rounded holistic service, I guess, within my own framework. And I've found that, with the people that I've worked for, is that there's always going to be some kind of mismatch. When you're working with or working for somebody else, I found that you're always going to not necessarily butt heads, but there's always going to be something that doesn't align perfectly. Mm-hmm. And at some point, good enough isn't good enough.
Right.
So yeah, pulling back, I guess, time in my day job to commit some more time and effort to actually developing Feel Move Think into a legitimate thing. At the moment, it's been a very spare time gig. So yeah, going to be putting in some time to actually bulk that out, have the capacity to provide more face-to-face services, but also develop, I guess, my online capacity as well, so I can work with people online and hopefully actually, I guess, bulk out, the kind of clientele I'm working with in the spaces that I want to work with them. So, actually helping people, develop those values, those habits, those behaviors, and not just train them in a gym. Mm-hmm. So yeah, really provide, I guess, that really well-rounded, holistic, I guess, health, wellness, fitness service.
Right.
So that's the end goal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. To be honest, I've got some great people on side that help out. I've got do a bit of a shout out, Nate from Unbroken, who does all my apparel. He has his own apparel company, Unbroken, and they're very aligned in that mental health space as well. So we've been working together for a little while now, and definitely looking to collab with him and in that mental health space too. So that's somewhere that we're both really passionate about, which is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where we're going. Pretty pumped.
Sounds exciting, man. Excited to see your journey. Tell people where they can find you.
Cool. So at the moment, Facebook and Instagram at Feel Move Think. In the process of developing a website so that you can see what we're all about, but that'll be feelmovethink.com.au when it gets up and running. So if you give us a follow on the old Insta, on the socials, you'll see once we've launched the website, get all the services up and running properly, and come along for the journey.
Very cool, man. I didn't know you have the periods between each word, but I guess that doesn't matter for the search.
Yeah, it will come up. Yeah, so it's fuel.move.think technically,
but yeah, it definitely is as fun to say, but it still comes up as Fuel Move Think.
Yeah. It looks like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Over here.
It's a little more purpley. It's the purple one. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Molly. Almost did it again. Molly. Sexy Lexi. Yeah, my dog is Lexi, so it's Sexy Lexi. So you're Molly Bali. Molly Bali. All right. Well, thank you for joining. I hope folks got something out of this journey. Yeah, folks want to reach out to either one of us. Our info should be down below somewhere. If you're listening to this on podcast, there should be stuff in the show notes. If not, let me know. Comment and tell me, hey, where's all the links? I'll get them out there. Anyway, guys, get 1% better. Molly's going to go do my workout that I sent him right after this. So he's going to do some heavy squat cleans, face his fears. And that'll be that. So wherever you're watching from or listening from, peace out, guys, and talk to you soon.